It seemed time to flip shit to a new fucking page.
Picture this. It's 1998, and a music video director makes his first movie. Critics savage it. Magic Johnson theaters ban it. The studio cuts 3/4 of the budget. The lead actor tries to sabotage his own performance. So, why is this chaotic mess called Belly now considered one of the greatest hip-hop films ever made? The answer reveals a pattern. Sometimes revolutionary art appears broken to those who don't understand its language. Belly was built on misunderstood brilliance, and that's exactly what made it legendary. Welcome to Prime Time Throwback. Today, we're entering the belly of the beast to uncover how a flawed masterpiece became a cultural phenomenon. A visual language the critics couldn't understand. When Belly hit theaters in November of '98, critics were brutal, calling it style over substance and completely missing the point. The style wasn't decoration, it was the substance. Hype Williams transformed hip-hop through his music videos for Busta Rhymes and Missy Elliott. His fisheye lenses and impossible colors created a new visual paradigm. Belly was a 96-minute music video that elevated Williams' aesthetic into feature-length cinema. Critics looked for conventional narratives, but Belly was made for the people who understood it. This wasn't messy filmmaking, it was raw truth decades ahead of its time. Hype Williams blew most of the budget in the first 5 minutes. Williams had a modest budget, reports vary between 3 and 7 mil, and made a decision that would define everything. He spent the majority on the opening sequence. Set inside New York's Tunnel nightclub, this 5-minute robbery scene was filmed to an a cappella version of Soul II Soul's Back to Life. Williams poured every technique from his music video arsenal into these opening moments. Producers called it financial suicide, but Williams understood. If you capture the audience in those first minutes, you establish a visual world so compelling, viewers won't look away, and everything else will follow. That opening became one of the most iconic scenes in hip-hop cinema. DMX and Nas weren't acting, they were living. The casting reveals Williams' genius for authenticity. Earl DMX Simmons and Nasir Nas Jones weren't hired as traditional actors. They were cast to play heightened versions of themselves. Here's where chaos got real. Cast members would show up drunk, late, or not at all. DMX's unpredictability wasn't just his character, it was a daily reality on set. Yet this dysfunction actually enhances the film's authenticity. Williams pioneered a paradigm where musical personas became cinematic performances, where authenticity mattered more than technique. What looked like unprofessional chaos was actually unconventional brilliance. If you're loving these behind-the-scenes revelations about how hip-hop changed cinema forever, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. What's your favorite Belly scene? We're just getting started with the wild stories behind this cult classic. The director was at war with his own movie. Williams faced constant battles with producers over his unconventional methods. As Method Man put it, Williams brought Pirate-esque from music videos to a film set demanding permits and union codes. Williams brought Pirate-ish from music videos to a film set demanding permits and union codes. Williams would lose permits mid-shoot and relocate entire scenes on the fly. Producers were pulling on his pocket every 5 minutes about budget overruns. What looked like directorial inexperience was actually a new form of filmmaking Hollywood wasn't ready to understand. The result captured something authentic about street life that polished studios couldn't touch. The script changed 5 times, and it shows. The script changed about 5 times during filming. Most notably, the redemption arc wasn't in the original plan. Early versions had DMX's character shooting the Reverend, but instead, the final cut shows Tommy moved to tears, leading to an embrace. Critics found this jarring, but the evolution reflected Williams' intuitive understanding that the culture needed hope, not nihilism. What seemed like sloppy screenwriting was actually Williams adapting his own vision in real time. Chapter 6. Tyrin Turner tried to sabotage the film and accidentally became a legend. Okay, so this is one of the wildest stories in film history. Tyrin Turner, fresh off Menace to Society, was promised the lead role by Hype Williams. When DMX gets the part, Turner is furious. His response? Professional sabotage. Turner's intentionally over-the-top performance became iconic. His ignorant portrayal accidentally created one of the most memorable characters in street cinema. Once again, what seemed like failure became unconventional brilliance. Belly invented a new way to light black skin. Cinematographer Malik Hassan Saeed created something revolutionary, unconventional brilliance that critics initially dismissed. The film was ahead of its time in how it lit black skin, addressing a problem that had plagued cinema for decades. Historically, film lighting was optimized for lighter skin tones. Said actively subverted this, creating otherworldly spaces lit in rich blues, reds, and browns, specifically chosen to complement black complexions. Williams and Said used glossy makeup to make skin bounce light. They employed black lights to make characters glow blue. The result was black skin that shined like never before. This influence continues today. Films like Moonlight employ similar techniques. The soundtrack was the plot. Belly's soundtrack became an integral narrative force, another unconventional approach that confused critics but thrilled audiences. Nas's verse and grand finale referenced Joe's the Belly the Beast, connecting his character's conflict to the film's themes. D'Angelo's Devil's Pie played in the Reverend Savior scene. Dancehall tracks immersed viewers in Jamaica during Ox storylines. This wasn't just a movie with hip-hop music, it was a cinematic extension of Def Jam's empire. What critics saw as style over substance was actually substance through style. Jay-Z was almost the lead. Before becoming a global icon, Sean Carter was seriously considered for Belly's title role. Williams recognized something special, noting that Jay-Z hadn't popped yet. He was a real hustler from a real place. This wasn't Hollywood casting rappers for credibility. This was the culture creating its own representation from within. Costume designer June Ambrose received explicit instructions from Williams to forecast what hip-hop's going to look like in the millennium. She pioneered blending high-end pieces with streetwear, pairing Versace with Timberlands. The metallic fabrics and brands like NC represented the first wave of American streetwear. DMX and sleek black leather and Nas and understated luxury created archetypes influencing designers like Rick Owens and Virgil Abloh today. What looked like costume excess was actually cultural prophecy that took decades to be recognized as genius. The Gummo scene was cultural commentary. In one surreal moment, DMX's crew watches Harmony Korine's Gummo after the opening robbery. DMX's reaction, Ish is bugged out, seemed casual but represents something profound. Throughout the 90s, white audiences consumed black culture as gritty reality entertainment. Belly flipped this completely, showing black characters observing white dysfunction. Even in throwaway moments, Williams was subverting expectations. From critical disaster to cultural classic, Belly was banned from Magic Johnson theaters. Critics savaged it as a flashy mess. By every traditional measure, the film was a failure. But here's the final proof of our through line. What seemed like failure was actually unconventional brilliance waiting to be understood. Belly was never made for mainstream critics or broad success. It was created for a specific audience, people who understood its world in visual language. Over 25 years, the same excess and rawness that critics mocked became the foundation of its legendary status. The film didn't change. We caught up to it. What seemed chaotic in 1998 now reads as prophetic artistry. Every element that made critics uncomfortable, the non-traditional narrative, the visual excess, the authentic casting, became the reason it endures. Belly stands as proof that authentic cultural expression will always find its audiences regardless of critics or commercial expectations. Williams made something unprecedented, simultaneously a product of its time but decades ahead of it. From revolutionary cinematography to prophetic fashion, from authentic casting to guerrilla production, Belly redefined hip-hop cinema. It wasn't conforming to Hollywood standards, it was establishing its own visual language. The chaos that surrounded production became essential to its character. This was raw cultural expression that captured something real about street life and translated it into unforgettable cinema. 25 years later, Belly's influence permeates fashion, music videos, and filmmaking. It proved the most powerful stories come from the margins, told by people who understand their subjects from within. What do you think of this deep dive into Belly's hidden history? Are there other cult crime classics you'd like us to explore? Drop your suggestions in the comments, hit that subscribe button for more Prime Time Throwback, and remember, sometimes the movies the critics hate the most are the ones that change everything. Until next time, keep digging deeper.